It's the end of Wildcard Weekend in the NFL, and there was definitely some upsets over the weekend. So, Joe, in your opinion, what was the biggest upset? I think I know. I think I have an idea what you're going to say. Go
How
ahead.
do you how do you not how do you not
Yeah,
start with the
Cowboys.
Packers being the K? Of course, the Cowboys are such frauds. It's a new year, same old Cowboys, just choking in the playoffs. I mean, it's just a script that's been repeating itself for 30 years now. Again, they were what 8-point favorites in this game.
Yeah,
The
it's
score was 48. The score was 48-16. So the 48-32 score kind of
yeah.
flatters with the Cowboys in that one because the
Yeah,
game was never close.
it wasn't even close. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing. And the 48-32, if you just look at the score, it doesn't really tell the whole story, right? I mean, I think those 32 points were kind of like empty points. I don't know if
Well,
if you could say like
they're
that, right?
garbage. They're garbage time points. They scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. When the Packers are just playing prevent defense, the game was already wrapped up. There's, I don't know. I think there's something maybe going on between Dak Prescott and CD Lamb because they really looked off from the beginning of the game, and those guys
Yeah.
are usually in sync. So who knows? Maybe someone slept with each other's wife, or there's something going on there. Mike McCarthy, I think it's time for him to go. It's like 3 straight years they make the playoffs. They're supposed to go far, and they go nowhere. So yeah, the Cowboys they got to make some
Yeah,
changes, in my opinion.
yeah, they didn't catch any traction throughout the whole game. There was no bright spots, like you said. Like we said, the points at the end of the game didn't really mean anything. On the flip side, I mean, Jordan Love in his first postseason game
Yeah,
definitely delivered, throwing for 16 for 20 for 21, 272 yards and 3 TDs. Aaron Jones was also
yeah,
showed up to play, rushing for 118 yards. Also got 3 TDs. So in the future, well, next they have the Niners. I mean, definitely that will be
that's a step
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's going to set the bar.
I'll give the Packers their credit. I mean, I know we just bashed. I just finished bashing the Cowboys, but I mean, the Packers showed up. Jordan Love played a fantastic game. Aaron Jones was unstoppable. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Packers definitely earned it. They surprised me, but now that's a different animal. They got to go on the road.
exactly.
A rested 49ers team, pretty tough defense. So
They
now we'll see what the Packers are made of.
Yeah, and look, it's good. Another Jordan Love. Well, I was going to say another rookie because we'll talk about CJ Stroud.
Yeah, yeah,
Right after this, but it's good to see him get a win under his belt. And they definitely, like we said, they definitely need Aaron Jones next week to show up again. I find he hasn't been playing that good this season, but when it counted, he showed up, right? And that's what it is.
yeah,
That's what the playoffs is all about.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
next on our list, Joe, I want to go to the Browns and Texans game. I guess would you consider this an upset? Because I mean, I think everyone, including myself,
Yeah,
had the
I
Browns.
guess. Yeah, I guess you could say it's an upset, and yeah, I'll be the first to admit that I also had the Browns. I
I
figured, Stroud is a rookie, he was playing a great
Yeah,
defense in the Browns. And Flacco had been on fire for the last month. So yeah, I kind of figured that the Browns would probably win this game. But man, CJ Stroud looks phenomenal. I think
yeah,
he's in a couple of years he'll probably be a top 5 quarterback easily.
yeah. I mean, I even had a parlay on the Browns. Completely lost that one. Did you do any betting this weekend?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
Okay,
I'm
well,
staying
good for
away
you.
from that.
Especially when it comes to the playoffs, you never know, right? But
Yeah,
yeah, everyone had the Browns, including myself, including you, including I think every analyst I saw, every broadcaster had the Browns. But in the end, it was the Texans that won, right?
yeah,
45 to 14. Um, the Browns, obviously, I think everyone had the Browns because of their defense, right? The defense has been phenomenal this year. So I think that was the main reason. But Stroud picked them apart, right? Going 16 for 21, 272 yards,
yeah,
3 TDs, no interception. Like we said, he's definitely a special player, and he proved it also getting his first postseason win, just much like Jordan Love. I'll also give the Texans their defense, 2 back-to-back pick sixes, right?
yeah.
Christian Harris also had a good game, 8 tackles and a sack. So, and as you said, going back to Flacco, I saw a stat while watching the game, and that was that he's 5-0 in the wild card games, and
Yeah,
that
he
streak is
was.
definitely over, right?
The Flacco magic ran out for the Browns, and I mean, yeah, they were just terrible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened, but good on the Texans. I think it's been 4 years since they got up, a postseason
Yeah, it
win.
was against the Bills, I think, in 2019. Yeah,
So
that's when Deshaun Watson was their quarterback.
yeah, yeah. We'll talk about him, right? But no, it's good to see. Next, Joe, since we're talking about upsets, I guess the last one is the Tampa and the Eagles game.
Yeah.
I don't know what did you see there because Eagles,
Well, there's some. Well, first, the Eagles didn't have AJ Brown, but there's definitely
yeah,
something going on with that team. I mean, it looked like it didn't even show up to the game. Like they
nothing,
were
nothing.
just dead. Yeah. So, and then you saw some clips after the game and during the game of like some bickering going on between like Jalen Hurts and some of the receivers and players.
He was hurt though, Jalen Hurts. I saw a report. One of his fingers, I don't know if it was not dislocated, but he was injured on his throwing hand.
Football. Everyone is injured at this time of year.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles were 10-1 at one
sure.
point. They were 10-1 at one point, and then they've lost 6 of 7. Yeah. So,
but like you said before, they didn't play really, any good teams throughout the season either. So I don't know if that record really shows what type of team they were this season. Excuse me. But I mean, 32-19. Mayfield came to play.
He was phenomenal.
332 yards, 3 TDs. Like you said, they were without the Eagles, AJ Brown. But I mean, there's nothing really good to say about the Eagles. They didn't like zero. They were terrible. The tackling was terrible. They couldn't deal with the blitz. So it's sad to say because we don't know about for Kelsey, right? It's probably last season, probably retiring. So it's sad to see him go out like this.
Retiring. It's official.
Yeah, it is. It's official.
Yeah, okay. He said he's retiring, so he's done.
Yeah,
I mean his brother Travis should also be on that list because he doesn't look like the same player anymore. I don't know if it's a Taylor Swift effect, which he's doing to him, but he doesn't look the same. He's like Max Kellerman once said, Tom Brady's just going to fall off a cliff, and it looks like that's happened to Travis Kelce because he's nowhere near the same player he was even last year.
Yeah, I feel like any man when it comes to sports, I want to say any man, but like being in a relationship definitely takes away from. I don't want to say your ambition, but like, that drive to win, you're working hard every day. Now you got to like compromise. Anyways, we won't get into it, but I do think it might have an effect.
It's all a big distraction. And keeping up with that game, like I said, the Cowboys were frauds. I also want to include the Miami Dolphins were frauds because they beat no one all year. And then also in the playoffs, they couldn't win the big game. Another thing I don't understand is they're a team from Florida that practices and plays every day in 80, 90-degree weather. And then they didn't even have one practice in Kansas City last week to get acclimated to the weather where it's below zero. So I don't know how, you're practicing every time in 80-degree weather and you got to go play in sub-zero temperatures and you think you're going to be ready for that if you've never, like practiced in it. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll stay on the Dolphins. I mean, when it comes to Tampa, I mean, they're playing the Lions next week. Before we get into the Dolphins and the Chiefs, do you think they stand a chance against this? I just want to get your thoughts on that.
About Tampa and the Lions.
Yeah. Do you think?
I see the Lions steamrolling.
Yeah, like steamroll. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to say it's a gift to the NFC Championship game. It is a playoff game, and the Bucs, they beat the Eagles to get there. I just think they're a bit of a flawed team. They got in the last game of the year, and the Lions, the Lions look like they're ready.
Yeah, they played well. We'll get into them as well. But okay, so like we were just getting into the Dolphins and the Chiefs. I don't know if you want to consider this an upset. I mean, Dolphins.
The Chiefs were favored. That was not an upset at all. It would have been an upset if the Dolphins won.
Yeah, but they still didn't really show up to play, right? I mean, the Chiefs winning 26-7.
I mean, the Chiefs just had to show up, and they were going to win that game because the Dolphins looked like they just wanted to get the hell out of Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, look, the both teams coming in 11-6. I also saw, the Miami fans pretty much leaving halfway through the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't really blame them. I mean, the Chiefs are up by 3 possessions, right? Yeah. So it wasn't really a competition. The Chiefs, I mean, the offense did, more than enough. Their defense was spectacular as always, but I didn't really see anything from the Dolphins. I feel bad for the fans because it looked like a good year, right? I mean, they had a good year, but
yeah, they had a good year. But when you look at it in like its totality, they really beat no one. I think one or two other wins were only against teams that ended up finishing over 500. And I mean, when they played Kansas City in Germany earlier in the year, they lost to them as well. So.
Yeah, they didn't really. I mean, I think they had like 95 to 100 yards on 32 plays heading into the fourth quarter. The Dolphins, that is. So I mean, that's not the way to win a playoff game. And as they also. I mean, even before heading into the Wildcard weekend, they had a chance, to be top seed, and they blew that, losing to the Ravens and the Bills, right? Yeah, exactly. So
they would have had
they had the destiny in their hands, right? And they blew it, and that's what happens. You get the Chiefs, and you lose. So, I mean, the Chiefs are playing the Bills next week, which, these two teams see each other a lot. Going to be a great game, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Next on our list, we'll go to the Rams and the Lions. This was, neck and neck. It was a good game.
Back and forth. Yeah, I enjoyed it. That was my favorite game of the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Stafford back in Detroit. Goff back playing his own, playing each other's old teams. They got traded for each other back in 2020, right? So, what did you like about the game? Was there anything that stood out?
I just thought it was competitive. It always kept my interest. It was, it went all the way to the end. I mean, every other game was pretty much a blowout and you know who the winner was going to be by the fourth quarter. But yeah, and also I want to give Matthew Stafford his kudos because I mean he was getting killed all game. I mean he clearly looked injured there towards the end, and he just kept fighting. And unfortunately, I don't know. The Lions had not the Lions. I'm sorry. The Rams had a 4th and 14 there in the fourth quarter with only one timeout under 5 minutes. I mean, yeah, it would have been like a 60-yard field goal because I think I heard McVay say after the post game that he was considering going for the field goal. I mean, yeah, or you go for it on 4th and 14, but that's kind of a low percentage. But then at the same time, you're kicking it back and you only have one timeout. So
in the second half, it was pretty much mostly field goals, right? In the first half,
the Lions only got 3 points. So
yeah, exactly. In the first half, it was mostly they were trading blows. It was definitely offensive fireworks, I guess you could say, but. At the end, it's good to see Detroit. They definitely needed the win. 32 years later, right? 1992, Joe. A year.
We're pictures of those fans, like they're fans crying for half an hour. Like, after you've been through it.
Fine, we were 1 year old the last time they won, right?
It's been a long time. Yeah, never in our lifetime have we seen the Lions win a playoff game, and they've been shafted many times in the playoffs in recent years, like especially against the Cowboys. So yeah, I also saw a franchise that deserves this. It's them.
Yeah, I also saw a stat before the playoffs. It was during the season. I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw like crime rate was down, and it's never been this low. And the Lions are winning. So does that have something to do with that?
Maybe.
Honestly, maybe. Also, I mean, Laporta. I just want to mention this: Laporta was injured, and he was injured last week, coming off an MCL injury. Right, he still played, even scored a TD. So good to see that. Hopefully, he's still going to be healthy next week. As you said, they're playing Tampa. That's going to be a good game as well. I don't know if it's, like I know pretty much we just said, like, Lions will probably steamroll, but we'll see where the game takes us. And last on the list, Joe, Bills and Steelers. I mean, going into this, I pretty much thought Bills was going to destroy them, but Steelers kept it close at the beginning, but then Bills pretty much ran away with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was never in doubt. Like, the Bills went up 13-0 and 21-0. I know they got that blocked field goal, and they made it a one-score game there in the fourth quarter. But like, I never really got the sense that the Steelers are really going to come back and win the game. I mean, and it was out of all the games, it's probably the most boring one to watch.
Yeah, it was. I mean, unless you're a Bills fan, I guess. Like our friend Chris, it seemed like he was. But Allen came to play, 3 touchdowns, completing 70%. Right, he also ran for 74 yards. 52 of those yards was one drive, right? Scoring a TD. So that was pretty. I think it was second most in postseason history, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. But when it comes, I'll just touch on the Steelers a little bit. When it comes to the Steelers, a lot of turnovers, which led to 14 of the Bills' points, right? So definitely not going to win a game like that. They also, without TJ Watt, so I don't think they've been successful without him in any game.
I don't even know. It was a miracle they even made the playoffs, in my opinion. Especially the way they played down the stretch. They lost like big games like the Patriots and Cardinals, who they should have beat easy. It's like this, but I guess in the end, the Steelers don't have a quarterback, so it doesn't matter if it's Pickett or Rudolph. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. I mean, they have basically two backup quarterbacks and no starters, so that can only take you as far as you can. And we got them to the playoffs, but they're one and done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they did kind of battle back a little bit, making just one a one touchdown game, right? Early in the fourth, but like you said, even with that happening, I don't think it was any worry. That's for sure. So, like we said before, they're playing the Chiefs next week. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good football next week. I'm excited. Should we do a parlay, Joe, or something? Should we? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
A parlay is a recipe to lose.
Yeah.
But
but look, it was a fun weekend. There was definitely a lot of upsets, which us as fans definitely love to see. So hopefully we'll get more of that next week. And until then, have yourself a good night.